Let's talk about common FSBO objections and how you can overcome them. As agents, we deal with objections every day. Now, instead of me just giving you, here's how to handle this objection, and going on for hours, let's talk about the core fundamentals here so you understand what objection handlers do and how you can utilize them better. The core fundamentals. When home sellers give you an objection, don't fight back. We want to reframe the objection to fit the home seller's point of view. Let's not forget the core of our objective is we are trying to influence what? Not a listing, change. They have chose to go in this direction. We want them to change in this direction. So whether you're trying to change a FSBO into listing or an expired into relisting, as you know, people don't like change. And we like to feel in control. That's our human nature. So by holding on to what we're currently doing, we feel in control. By resisting change, we feel in control. So how can we leverage these core fundamentals as a realtor? The objection for many home sellers is they don't feel comfortable with the change that you or I are presenting. They may think that they need more time to feel comfortable, or with what you're presenting, and they're afraid that they don't know. The core objection we face is as simple as they don't know and they don't see the need for change. As an agent, it's our job to overcome those objections, to all the objections they have to change when presenting a new solution. We need to sell home sellers on the solution by destroying the doubt that they have in their mind. This ensures that they buy into what we're presenting them. Now, how do we destroy those doubts? This is what I call we either destroy or we get destroyed. This is where we have to fill in the role as a leader, and we have to guide them to a new perspective where they see our point of view. In doing so, they will also see that there's a need for what? Change. We also need them to see that if they don't change, they will end up in a place that they don't want to be. Maybe their home won't sell, they'll lose money, loss of time, the home they buy maybe will no longer be available. This is where the fear of loss is on our side, and we need to use it to our advantage so they can see, and more importantly, feel the fear of loss. The new solution I'm presenting will ensure that a home seller can sell their home for more money and get on to where they want to go. We may be presenting the same solution as all the other agents out there, but the fact is, if we do it differently, they feel like it's new. It's a new, innovative idea. Really, you're doing the same thing as the other agent. You're just presenting it differently to where they see your value and they feel the pain of not acting now. This all revolves around destroying objections, which is the key component to selling. This method works whether you're working with buyers, with sellers, in really any niche. Now let's talk about the traditional way of overcoming objections. Any agent who's trying to persuade a home seller to list with them traditionally take the approach of answering every objection. For example, when a home seller says, I want to save money, that's why I'm selling it on my own, most agents say, you know what, Mr. Home Seller? We agents get more money for your home than you can as a for sale by owner. Here's the stats, here's the data. So they answered the question. The objection has been answered with apparently a sufficient answer. Now there's thousands of scripts for overcoming objections. Most of the time, the theory is to have an answer for every possible objection for every situation. Agents have traditionally practiced overcoming objections by just beating home sellers over the head with seemingly good answers like we just looked at. This process has worked, but the traditional method has been used and continues to be used, but no longer is it effective as it used to be. We as agents, if we're just answering objections, beating people over the head, presenting a solution, showing up with the mindset that, you know what, I'm going to show up with my golf club to this tennis match and win the game, it never works. We leave frustrated, we leave losing the game because we did not destroy objections. We tried to just answer them. The art of destroying objections is to reframe the position that they're taking. Today, the preferred method is reframing objections into a positive for the home seller. Objection reframing is the process of taking the objection and turning the situation into a positive one in the mind of the home seller. When home sellers feel positive about a situation, they're more open to really making a change and listening to you. This goes back to what I call consultative selling, where we're filling the role of the advisor, not the salesperson. Whenever you're selling, you're filling a role of either a salesperson or an advisor. And what an advisor does is they focus on the needs and the motivations of the home seller rather than on themselves or the brokerage. A salesperson is focused on themselves and the brokerage. An advisor is focused on the prospect and the motivating factors to get them to change. But here's the catch. We must listen in order to understand the motivations of the home seller. Then find a way to reframe the objection so they see the situation in a positive frame instead of the current negative frame. And the only way to do that is to ask the questions and listen. Finding the solution within the cause of the problem is the key to reframing the objection. The cause of the problem for many FSBOs is they don't think they can afford to pay a commission. When we get them to see the bigger picture that they can't afford to go alone because it will cost them much more than our commission, this is when they see our value and they really see the need for our solution. When you approach objections in this way, reframe the situation, home sellers are open to trying your solution. They don't know that they can list with you and save money, time, and headache. It's our job as realtors to educate them so they know what's at stake. Many times when we hear that, they're saying no and they're being resistant, no really means no. K-N-O-W, meaning they just need to know more. There's lack of understanding, and it really falls back on us with lack of educating them. This is where we need to slow down to go faster, talk them through the situation, and then take the time to reframe every objection. This is where home sellers will work with you and find a solution that is really beneficial to both of you. It's not a one-sided solution. So whether you're finding solutions to FSBOs or expireds, prospects are always open when when they hear a positive way, when they hear it reframed. Starts the conversation and it tears down this resistance. For example, maybe you can help me out here. What do you see on this dollar bill? What do you see on there? Now, I see eyeball, I see $1, I see In God We Trust. You're probably saying I see George Washington, and I see a seal here. We can argue about this all day long because we both see different sides, two different perspectives. We could fight over this dollar all day by arguing. I need to get you to look at it from my perspective, and you need to get me to look at it from your perspective. When we take this approach of reframing, we're literally bringing them around to our perspective. But first, we're looking at things from their perspective to understand their pain and frustration. Now, I want to leave you with 2 rules to follow. Number 1, focus on the motivation of the home seller from their perspective. That's looking at their side of the coin or the dollar. Number 2, figure out how you can reframe that situation for a positive to get them to your point of view. Reframing objections is not negotiating. You're simply taking the situation, reframing it so the other person can accept it. In other words, you're finding a win-win situation for both you and the home seller. This is when you can list more homes instead of getting met with resistance. You'll be able to move forward with more listings, allowing you to build a pipeline of listings and, more importantly, raving fans. Now, if you're interested in really upping your game with FSBOs, check out our Done For You FSBO campaign at authorify.com/FSBO.